So CNN decided it was a brave and genius idea to track down some Trump supporters and accuse them of being Russian puppets.
But what part of it in this is a cover-up? What, you saying that's not true, or what?
The Russians, I don't care if they were involved or not. That to me is the least important thing.
But they were involved with you. Did you guys know that?
They weren't involved with us. Just make sure that you report it correctly, that,
But you guys were involved with being patriotic, right?
Very, very patriotic, but not...
Being patriotic was the group that contacted and helped organize some of these activities that you posted on your own Facebook account.
Those were legitimate.
Those were Russians.
They were not Russians. I don't go with the Russians.
That group was Russian.
I have nothing to do with the Russians.
Well, apparently you did.
No.
Maybe you didn't know it, but you did.
When you're talking like this, I don't want to have anything to do with you.
Well, I'm talking what's
Those
based
people
on
that were with me were all Trump supporters. Very, very much so. Okay?
And all apparently following the direction of groups that were associated with Russians who were actually infiltrating.
BS. And please report that. I don't believe that. That's bullshit. I know all the people that were with me, okay? They were at my meetings. They're all Trump supporters, okay?
Mm-hmm. But did you realize that you guys were in communication electronically with Russians?
Not me. I don't know.
You were posting stuff on the Facebook.
Hillary Clinton was, and so was all her bandits.
Some of the stuff that you were in charge of the Facebook account, right? You were posting and reposting almost word for word the information that was coming out of this Internet Research Agency in St. Petersburg.
No.
You don't believe that?
Nope. Thank you.
Well, there you go.
I don't know how he feels like I showed her. Like, boy, I came out of that exchange looking good. Really? I mean, listen, there are, of course, going to be very partisan Democrats who look at that and go, see? Russians! The Russians! But the CNN guy, you're making an ass of yourself. How do you... That's amazing. That video clip is amazing to me, because what you have here, let's get all the facts out there. What you have here is an older lady who was a Trump supporter who ran a Facebook page that was dedicated towards being pro-Trump. And what she did is some of the Internet Research Agency created material, memes and whatnot, she used that on her Facebook page and posted it, and other people would share it and all that. So what CNN is doing is they're saying, aha, we got you. Since it was Russian created, it is by definition evil and wrong that you shared this material. But that's, to me, I find that irrelevant. If they're not going to share Russian-created memes, then they would have shared pro-Trump memes that were created by people who weren't Russian. And in the mind of CNN, what? That's okay, sharing the memes that are non-Russian created, but it isn't okay to share the ones that are Russian created? Like, I showed you some of the stuff from the Internet Research Agency. For example, they had a Bernie Sanders meme where it's like, oh, he's so pro-gay, and he's all different colors, and it's a cartoon, and he's jacked. He's got, a lot of muscles, and he's, posing and shit. Okay, if somebody had tweeted that at me during the election, I may have retweeted it because I thought the fucking picture was funny. That doesn't mean that I'm fucking like a Russian puppet or I'm a useful idiot. It means I like Bernie Sanders. This is a thing that shows Bernie Sanders in a funny and positive light. So, okay, I'll retweet it. Look at this debate we're having in the country. This debate is fucking mental. Just the fact that they're just using the Russian thing as literal McCarthyism here. I don't know what else to call this. Some people get mad when you use the term McCarthyism. What the fuck do you want to call this? They're showing up to random old ladies' houses and they're like, did you know you shared Russian-created stuff? Do you know Russians? Are you close with the Russians? Do you not understand that what you were doing here and how serious this is? This is what we're fucking doing? This is what we're doing. It drives me crazy because this is contributing to a climate of hysteria. Glenn Greenwald made a point about this. He said, you would never in a million years see CNN show up to the house of, I don't know, for example, a powerful Wall Street executive who got a giant bonus with taxpayer money and pester that Wall Street executive, hey, do you realize that you just got millions of dollars from the taxpayers even though you tanked your own company and it went bankrupt as a result of you? Hey, do you realize that you're a welfare queen? You would never see tough questions directed towards Big Pharma, the military-industrial complex, for-profit health insurance companies, Wall Street. You'd never see this directed at the elite, at the ruling class. But a powerless old lady who's a Trump supporter, who happened to share some memes that she had no clue were created at a Russian troll farm, this is a fucking story? That's not a story. That's not a story. Okay, now, if you think this is bad, it gets worse because you're also now not allowed to bring up the hypocrisy of the U.S. on issues in regards to election meddling.
But there is some truth to the fact that the United States has engaged in election meddling over its history. The CIA has. But what Ambassador McFaul was on to is it's not always the same thing, right? Like here, you can help a democratic movement deal with a despot.
Well, right. Sometimes it's standing up for the Iranian dissidents who are being hung from cranes for being gay. I mean, America's role in supporting democracies is stated U.S. policy. I'm not sure of any sort of embrace or national interest in permitting Russia to intervene in our democratic process.
Right, and that whataboutism is what's coming to dominate the political discussion, and it's sort of the wind at this president's back. And yes, so Sean Hannity is very much part of that, and it's look over there, look over there, look over there, and guess what's happening in the meantime? The Russian behavior that we're talking about now is ongoing. It's probably iterating. We're coming into the midterms, and we're still trying to figure out what happened during 2016. But this is an information war that's happening now, and we are nowhere in the game.
That is nothing but U.S. government propaganda. That's what that is. This goes right back to Noam Chomsky manufacturing consent. His argument was, you have a more rigid adherence to the arguments of the state from corporate media than you get in countries that have state media. So state-run media oftentimes dissents more about their own respective governments than corporate media does in the U.S. against the U.S. government. Isn't that crazy? Because what they're saying here is they keep using this term whataboutism. You mean when we point out the hypocrisy of the U.S.? So you're not allowed to discuss the hypocrisy of the U.S. or else you're doing whataboutism. So when people say, Russia meddled in the election, and you go, well, the U.S. not only meddles in election, it has a history of toppling governments that we don't like, doing regime change. So a few Twitter trolls that Russia had here versus us overthrowing governments. The CIA, we just covered a story the other day, the head of the CIA admitted it. So you're not allowed to make that point or else it's whataboutism. That's like saying, that's like a guy who murdered his girlfriend, looks at his neighbor after his neighbor assaulted his girlfriend and goes, I can't believe you assaulted your girlfriend. You assaulted your girlfriend? I can't believe you assaulted your girlfriend. And then if somebody joins that conversation and goes, you murdered your girlfriend, they go, whataboutism? What are you doing with the whataboutism? That's such a fucking low, like, that's such a dim response. Like, you're so not serious if that's your reaction when somebody points out hypocrisy of the U.S. on this issue. And make no mistake about it, the reason why they hype it up in the case of Russia and they downplay it in the case of the U.S. is they're doing the U.S. government's bidding. They all accept the framework of world affairs as the U.S. gets to violate international law. And in fact, it's not just that we get to violate it, it's good when we violate it. That's what they said. That's what their argument was. Their argument was, when we do it, it's for democracy and freedom. 73% of the world's dictatorships are supported by the United States. 73%. The lie that you've been told from when you were a kid that your government cares about democracy and freedom, it's just that. It's a lie. It's a total lie. It's not true. It's a complete and utter lie. If your government cared about democracy, why would we back Saudi Arabia, an absolute monarchy and a theocracy and a dictatorship? Why would we back Israel, permanently violating international law with illegal occupations and settlements? Why would we do that? Why would we do that? So if we're backing 73% of the world's dictatorships, that disproves the notion that we support democracy. We don't. So, but again, they've all drunk the Kool-Aid. They're doing the U.S. government propaganda as they shame people who bring up facts about history and shame people who point out U.S. hypocrisy.